if I can do like just a quick shout out, thank you so much to the organizers for making this possible. It's been a fun month and something that Jaren and I look forward to on weekend nights, and you guys are goats, and I know that there are a lot of like challenges with hosting a tournament, and I empathize, and nothing but love and respect for everyone who's here today, to everyone in the room, to our institution from the University of Asia and the Pacific Forum who are here today, to my other partner Matthew. We literally just came from another tournament and I had to like travel and find internet to be here, and sorry I was late, but yes. And also, of course, above all, family, friends, and my girlfriend Belle, who is probably working right now because it's night shift. Love you all, you're amazing. Let's go. I'll do a countdown before I begin my speech. Starting my speech in 3, 2, 1. Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, capitalism, Uncle Sam, and the invisible hand was once believed to be the solution of our problems that would bring America and the rest of the world to free and prosperous waters. I think this has fundamentally failed us and ultimately plunged us into resource wars, into direct wars, and to proxy wars that has significantly crippled the way the world and the way America looks at capitalism, looks at ownership, and looks at the democratic capacities of Republicans that lubricate this system. Ray Dalio was correct with his prediction of a changing world order. The rise of a multipolar world with China, Russia, the Middle East, and India all now become forces to be reckoned with to challenge US hegemonic power. The United States 25 years ago is different to where we are today, and is likely to be different from where we're going to be in the future. This is because the recent rally and campaign of the Republicans over the past decade has significantly weakened, especially with Donald Trump Season 2 and his ability or intention to try and wipe the slate clean and necessarily be able to do something new. Oh my gosh, we have gotten into 2 new wars since the year had started, with taking of Maduro and the conflicts in Venezuela over oil fields, as well as in Iran with all of the bombing happening over there. My hearts and empathy out to them. That is to say, we are now seeing a majoritarian and bipartisan consensus and disapproval of what Donald Trump and the Republicans have been doing, and has largely led to them necessarily becoming weaker, even more protectionist, and trying to be able to scramble into particular resources in the name of capitalism to try and be able to make back. Case in point, the US literally being in trillions of dollars of debt, ladies and gentlemen, that significantly affect them and significantly affect the world. A few key points of framing to also serve as substantive positive material. Number 1, what is the tipping point or metric of this predicts? This is something very important in a predicts motion. I think 25 years is a significant amount of time, almost 2 generations, and there are one of 2 things which are likely to be the culprit. Number 1, the AI bubble bursting and the significant degree and harm that America has given the concentration risk that they have with the Magnificent Seven, and a lot of the companies like Google, Facebook, and Nvidia significantly being a part of that. Number 2, them necessarily becoming economically crippled with the fall of the dollar, the fall of oil, and other related US-issued short-term debt like bills and treasuries, which are continuously being sold off given the disapproval of other nations to America. We think this is largely the Republicans' fault, Donald Trump's fault, and in as much as people love to shit on Biden and Kamala, I think that the Democratic slate, with the rise of Mamdani, the rise of AOC, are now presenting a very interesting counterfactual to be able to push back against them. Make no mistake, I'll be very clear with what this counterfactual looks like. Jaron and I are boldly going to defend a somewhat shift towards more socialist kinds of values, ladies and gentlemen. Stronger forms of regulation, no more unfettered capitalism, and stronger forms of control over the AI space, the cryptocurrency and blockchain space, and other related technologies like what? EVs, self-driving cars, heck, maybe in the future, drone operations, and even flying cars. Because all of these billionaires have gone off the charts, bro. Elon Musk 20 years ago was kind of cool. Now, he's kind of weird. And I'm not entirely sure whether he's going to be better or worse in the future. But the simple push, Jaron, and I have is that the lens of looking at democracy, primarily fueled by unfettered capitalism, has significantly plunged us into a lot of conflict. We don't have to look too far to be able to look at how going into Iraq and Afghanistan and those particular wars have led to resource conflicts. And ultimately, we have learned since then, right? And it's now a time for a changing world order. Since 2008, we've tried to be able to step in and regulate that of mortgage-backed securities because of the housing crisis. Back in 2020, 2021, post-COVID, we've now started to see the regulation of cryptocurrency and blockchain technology, and now even AI, with the likes of what's happening between Anthropic and the US government, those particular deals. That is to say, and I'll be very clear, capitalism was great. Capitalism has succeeded. But now is a time for a changing world order in terms of another system to metamorphosize and take its place. And we think that the Democrats, primarily fueled by their ability to fix all of these things in order for the US to truly want to latch and hold on to power, need stronger state systems and intervention to prevent infighting at home. I'll take your POI. Go. Make no mistake, ladies and gentlemen, we're not saying this shift is going to be beautiful, happy, fine. In fact, it's going to be transitionary. It's not also going to be all at once. A gradual shift towards these things, like what we're seeing today, is ultimately the likely trend to continue into the future. In fact, I'd even say this necessarily could have a lot of birth pains. It might even be ugly. I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen. I hope for all our sake it's going to be good. But what I do know is that the reliance solely on capitalism, especially the unfettered kind, is ultimately harmful, and the need to be able to prevent shit happening like in San Francisco with the fentanyl crisis and a lot of the border conflicts happening all around the United States really needs not just a strong man, but another perspective in terms of affirming the state and not solely being reliant on the hands of large corporations. Because look at what happened during the pandemic, relying on Big Pharma, Moderna, Pfizer to be able to fix all of these things. How many people necessarily died or were deprioritized as a consequence? The rising trend of younger people who are now forwarding a voting base among the Gen Z and Gen Alpha are literally going to be unlocked, and these particular people who are quite left-leaning and progressive in terms of their values are likely to vote Democrat instead of Republican, given all of the things in their formative years they're seeing right now. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of these things are significantly changing, and in order for the United States, which is the likely outcome, for them to want to hold on to power, they can't keep doing the same trick. They need to be able to rely on something else, and the bolstering of socialist ideologies and the Democrat Party trying to be able to hold them at the power is significant if they really want to try and be able to be at the forefront of things like AI, like cryptocurrency and blockchain technology to prevent the bubble from bursting, or if it bursts, to be able to still be alive. For all these reasons, we are very proud to open from side proposition.